No interior da remota região da Sibéria costeira, um vulto espreita. Conhecido em lendas como Amba, que significa Deus e demônio. Hoje tem o nome de tigre siberiano. O tigre vive nos limites de nossa imaginação, um símbolo de força, poder e beleza. Mas, apesar de sua reputação feroz, o tigre siberiano está perigosamente à beira da extinção. Existem menos de 400 desses grandes felinos que vivem em liberdade. Agora, muitos biólogos estão usando a ciência para salvar a criatura mais selvagem da Terra. Uma equipe internacional de cientistas russos e americanos procura entender melhor o tigre. A dedicação dessa equipe pode ser a última chance de sobrevivência do tigre. Se o tigre puder ser salvo, isso significará proteção para tudo que existe na sombra do tigre. Versão brasileira Dubla Vídeo São Paulo. Os invernos da Rússia Oriental são longos e rigorosos. O ar gelado que vem do continente mantém a região coberta de neve e gelo. No final da primavera, ventos trópicos do mar do Japão esquentam a região. Invernos gelados dão lugar a verões dourados e a vida desabrocha. Uma floresta vasta e indomável, conhecida como taiga russa, cobre quase toda a região. Ela é a maior floresta virgem do mundo e o último abrigo dos selvagens tigres siberianos, pesando até 460 quilos. O tigre siberiano é o maior felino do mundo, quase o dobro do tamanho de um leão adulto. Nascido da neve e do gelo, o tigre siberiano dispara pela floresta a 80 km por hora. Ele tem sobrevivido nessa região remota por milhares de anos, baseado em seu instinto e refinado comportamento. Antes, os tigres siberianos eram milhares, presentes na Rússia Oriental e Coreia do Sul. Mas invasões e destruição de habitats cobram seu preço. Hoje existem menos de 400 tigres siberianos em liberdade e são encontrados quase exclusivamente numa estreita faixa montanhosa da Sibéria costeira. A reserva biosférica Sikol-Tallinn está no centro dos domínios do tigre. É o maior santuário da vida selvagem no extremo leste da Rússia, com mais de 2.600 quilômetros quadrados de montanhas com florestas, rios claros e muitas praias. Na orla da floresta, corças pastam. Elas estão em alerta, sabendo que lá fora, movendo-se silenciosamente na floresta, um felino está à caça. é uma fêmea procurando sua presa. Ela não vai matar hoje, mas o quanto antes, pois tem outra boca para alimentar. O filhote de tigre de 6 meses chama-se Larisha. A mãe é Kátia. Elas fazem parte de um estudo profundo da vida secreta do tigre siberiano. Linda Curley e John Goodrich são um casal que coordena os esforços de pesquisa do projeto Tigre Siberiano, uma cooperação russo-americana conhecida pelo Instituto Hornocher de Vida Selvagem. Baseado no Instituto de Idaho, o Instituto Hornocher estuda as espécies que estão ameaçadas ao redor do mundo. Para John e Linda, estudar tigres em liberdade na Rússia é uma grande oportunidade.
It baffles me that there's actually a mammal that exists that is orange with black stripes. So, first of all, they're beautiful, and we don't get to see them very often. But when we do get a glimpse of them, it makes our job everything just everything worthwhile.
I think we have a wonderful opportunity to protect tigers, to conserve tigers, and it's really exciting to be a part of that and hopefully contribute to that. I love the woods and I love the wilderness, and the more wild it is, the better it is. One of my favorite places in the whole world is Huntington Beach, where you're more likely to see a tiger track on the beach than a human footprint. When I get out in the forest and I have my backpack on and I'm out for a week at a time, I'm doing what I love, and to me it's just as much like a vacation as it is like work.
The thing that I love about field biology is learning how other species, besides humans, interact with each other, how they live, and just how they make a living. And I like seeing it firsthand. I like being in the field.
John e Linda raramente veem os animais que estudam.
Tigers are secretive animals, and you can't just sit around and watch them. So we have to use radio telemetry in order to answer some of these questions, and these questions are critical to Siberian tiger conservation.
John e Linda usam radiotelemetria para desvendar a natureza esquiva do tigre siberiano. Os cientistas agora podem determinar o território do domínio dos tigres, hábitos alimentares e estrutura social. Aos poucos, surge uma imagem da sociedade dos tigres. Para usar a radiotelemetria, os cientistas precisam antes colocar um colar no animal. Para capturar um novo tigre, os cientistas usam cabos bem grossos. Eles são colocados nas trilhas usadas frequentemente por tigres adultos. Os cabos grossos são ideais. Permitem que os cientistas capturem um tigre sem o machucarem.
Snare loop lays over the spring like that. Tiger walks along, he's going to step on this trigger. Cut. And then the cable is attached to the tree and everything will be covered up.
Espalham-se várias armadilhas, que serão verificadas diariamente. Agora é um jogo de espera. Podem passar semanas sem uma captura. Com a equipe está um biólogo russo, Igor Nikolaevich. Igor provavelmente seja quem mais sabe sobre o tigre siberiano. Ele estuda o grande felino há mais de 30 anos. Eles estão com sorte. Poucos dias após terem posto as armadilhas, há uma captura.
Our biggest concern is the safety of the animal. Has the animal somehow been hurt in the snare? Has something happened to it? Is it very agitated? We stopped about 50 yards away from her, loaded the darts into the gun. and then approached slowly and quietly.
A primeira aproximação é a mais perigosa, porque os cientistas não podem dizer se o tigre está bem preso no cabo.
Yeah, it's dangerous. She was probably more agitated than any tiger that I've seen.
Okay, girl, easy.
She's got a toe capture, John. Be real careful.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay, back up. Backing off.
But I got that dart in her, and I backed off to let that dart take effect, because I knew even if it wasn't enough, it would calm her down. And indeed it did, and the second time we went in, she was much less mobile and much easier to work with. Any capture, whether the tiger is agitated or not, we try to avoid eye contact, try not to approach too closely, stay in a little bit of a cover if we can, and in general try not to present ourselves in a threatening or dominant way.
O tigre saiu ileso da captura. A equipe precisa ser rápida, antes que passe o efeito da droga. Tigres não piscam quando estão sedados. Seus olhos precisam ser lubrificados artificialmente e cobertos.
Okay, I'm gonna do a collar.
One person starts to fit the radio collar on the animal, because we want to get a radio collar on as quickly as possible.
A nova coleira do tigre fornecerá dados cruciais aos cientistas sobre os costumes do tigre.
What's her number? What's her new frequency?
034.
Também são colocados identificadores para o caso da coleira falhar.
We're really interested in body measurements of all kinds. It gives us a lot of information about body condition, about growth rates in animals, and differences between male and female body parameters.
Well, we take pad measurements, particularly the pad width, because we also measure tracks. Using track measurements can help us to identify individuals.
3 cm.
As patas dos tigres são almofadadas e permitem que eles se movam rapidamente na neve e gelo. As garras são retráteis para mantê-las afiadas e agarrar a presa.
Yep, we got head movement already. She's moving, but she's starting to twitch and stuff already, so.
O tigre dá sinais que a droga está perdendo efeito. A decisão é abandonar a coleta de maiores informações e sair o mais rápido possível.
We have radio collars on 9 resident tigers, and that represents just a small portion of the entire population of Siberian tigers. But those 9 animals having radio collars on will tell us so much about the population that we feel that disturbing those 9 animals will be worth it in the long run to protect the population as a whole.
Os tigres não estão sozinhos nesta região. O vilarejo de Tenney fica na fronteira da reserva. Várias gerações daqui têm convivido com os tigres. Apesar dos tigres siberianos não serem matadores de homens, são tomadas precauções. O gado todo é recolhido à noite e os cães ficam de guarda fora das casas. Não é inédito um tigre ferido ou doente vagar pela cidade, procurando comida fácil. No entanto, tigres siberianos preferem ficar dentro de florestas, onde eles se misturam com a natureza. Toda a vida na Rússia Oriental obedece ao ritmo da natureza. O que pode iniciar como inocentes flocos de neve pode tornar-se sério em questão de minutos. O tigre siberiano foi, sem dúvida, o maior predador da Rússia Oriental e por séculos sobreviveu ali num isolamento seguro. Isso tudo já passou. O mundo moderno abriu caminho por essas florestas antigas. O desmatamento diminuiu o habitat do tigre siberiano. As estradas que são abertas tornam o tigre vulnerável a carros velozes e caçadores. Katia e Larisha enfrentam essa ameaça todos os dias. O território delas é cortado pela estrada mais movimentada. A dupla precisa cruzar a estrada quando caça. John e Linda estão preocupados com Katia. Dizem que ela é sempre muito imprudente, que fica perto da estrada. Outros tigres são muito cuidadosos.
11-centimeter hind foot. Okay, so he was walking on the road down there and probably a car came. He ran up the bank, came around here, and then ducked down behind this tree. So you can see where his front feet were here, and then his hind leg was kind of out to the side right there, and his tail stretches around right back here. Probably a car came, he hopped up here and ducked down and hid, watched the car go by, and then he went back down and walked up the road.
É difícil para um tigre aprender os perigos das estradas. Seu primeiro encontro com carros ou caçadores é geralmente o último. Este tigre foi morto perto da estrada. Os caçadores tiraram a pele, mas deixaram a carcaça para trás. Talvez não sabiam do valor. Só a ossada vale mais que um ano de salários de uma família local. Uma proposta tentadora para um povo em difícil situação econômica. Os ossos de tigres são muito valorizados no mercado farmacêutico da Ásia por seus legendários poderes curativos. Essa crença empurrou o tigre siberiano para a beira da extinção. Para combater o comércio ilegal na vida selvagem, patrulhas têm sido enviadas para aquela região. Barreiras são colocadas para procurar caçadores transportando animais selvagens. Anatoly Astofia, diretor da reserva biosfera Sikhotalin, acompanha homens na patrulha.
Setting up roadblocks and checking vehicles is a good measure of poaching prevention. If we discover a poacher, we confiscate his prey and his guns. The patrol is also effective because we widely announce our intention to check certain roads on certain days. So many poachers who would have come here do not. Of course, poachers still hunt on the reserve, but they are not as numerous as they once were. Still, this is not a typical job. The men work 24-hour shifts. It is difficult and intense work.
A dedicação das patrulhas está funcionando. A caça na reserva diminuiu 40%, mas é preciso vigiar sempre. Enquanto o mercado de ossos existir, os caçadores serão uma séria ameaça. John, Linda e o assistente de campo, Cola Ribbon, estão indo até o território da Katia. Quando encontrarem seu rastro, ficarão dias cobrindo grandes áreas, seguindo os movimentos da Katia. Pelos próximos dias, esta cabana servirá de base. A equipe sairá amanhã de manhã para procurar o rastro de Katia.
We know from radio telemetry where a tiger has been, but then when the tiger leaves, we have to go in there and try and figure out what the tiger did. And we do that by following their tracks or looking for any other sign that they've left behind. Being a field biologist and studying tigers in particular is a lot like doing detective work. Some blood. And definitely an elk or possibly a sika deer, I guess.
Os tigres siberianos se alimentam principalmente de porcos selvagens, cervos e alces.
Tigers will often drag whatever they kill a short distance, and often it's into sort of denser cover. One of the interesting things we're trying to look at right now is how much a tiger eats when it has not been disturbed by humans and how much they eat when it has been disturbed by humans. Okay, you can see here that he's only eaten about 60% of this elk. Usually tigers eat everything. You'll come into a kill and all you'll find is the lower legs, 4 lower legs, and the remains of the head, which is often completely chewed up, and there's just a jaw and some broken bones laying there. He didn't finish this one because he killed it very close to the road, and it's laying here maybe 150 meters from the road. So he got spooked by all the activity on the road and left a lot of meat behind. They rely on stealth to capture their prey. Their hunting technique is a stalk, a short rush, and they jump on the animal. Once they get on an animal, they almost always kill it.
Para sobreviver, os tigres consomem de 6 a 8 quilos de carne por dia. Eles caçam de manhã até à noite. Visão aguçada, grandes caninos, garras afiadas e um corpo massivo em forma de ariete permitem ao tigre subjugar presas muito maiores que eles. Katia derruba facilmente um porco de 250 quilos, quase o dobro do seu peso. Suas armas mais usadas são os dentes.
You can see that both her lower canines are broken off at the gums. Katya's teeth are characteristic of a much older tiger than, say,
Pelo exame de fotos de dentes, cientistas conseguem estimar a idade de um tigre.
When I'm out tracking a tiger, I'm constantly visualizing what the tiger is doing. Sometimes to the point where it even kind of increases my heartbeat and I start getting really excited about it. And of course, added to that is always the chance that there's going to be a tiger just around the corner and that there's going to be some kind of an encounter. It just makes it incredibly exciting work.
Os cientistas encontraram rastros frescos dentro do território de Katia.
It's a little over 9 centimeters. So this has got to be Katia.
A medida da pegada confirma, são as pegadas da Katia.
Her strides were real small.
Um grupo de pegadas muito menores indica que Katia está viajando com sua filha de 6 meses, Larisha.
Here's tiger hair. there. See if there's any other kind of hair.
John e Linda têm seguido Katia nos últimos 3 anos. Ela se tornou a favorita.
It's no small animal that puts marks like that in a tree.
Os cientistas tiveram sorte de ver uma ação rara de Katia e Larisha brincando.
And it was incredible because the two of them played together and the cub often initiated the play, but the thing that really surprised me was Katia also would initiate the play. And it was amazing for us to see that the mother would be just as playful as the cub was.
As interações entre Katia e Larisha são importantes para entender como as mães criam os filhotes.
The time they spend with their mother is the time they're going to learn most of their social skills that they'll need for the rest of their life. Because the rest of their life, they spend mostly solitary, not in the company of other tigers.
Larisha já tem idade para dividir a caça com a mãe, mas é muito jovem para caçar. Ela ficará com a mãe pelo menos mais 1 ano, até conseguir sobreviver sozinha. Antes de Katia estar pronta para procriar, ela primeiro estabeleceu um perímetro, um território, e passou um tempo conhecendo seu parceiro.
Males will get together with females not just for purposes of breeding. Sometimes they'll share kills, and there's probably some importance in those relationships in a male and a female knowing each other before they will breed with each other.
Katia patrulha regularmente mais de 700 quilômetros quadrados, englobando lagos congelados e praias na costa.
A female will orient her territory based on where the food resources are, where the deer and the boar and elk are. A male will then overlay his territory on one or more females.
Os tigres siberianos têm territórios maiores que de outras espécies. O território de um macho pode abranger mais de 1.500 quilômetros quadrados.
It's phenomenal that they can still patrol their entire home range and keep other individuals out of their territories. The fact that they're territorial at all and can maintain exclusive home ranges is pretty amazing.
Tigers will violate and challenge territories, and sometimes that can result in fights and really aggressive encounters.
Katia percebe um intruso. É um tigre desconhecido. O encontro é breve, mais uma demonstração de poder. Ninguém é machucado. Katia teve sorte desta vez. Esses encontros podem ser fatais. Larisha, alheia ao perigo, está brincando como sempre, feliz por ter a mãe de volta. A comunicação entre tigres é outra área de grande interesse para John e Linda.
Sometimes we might think of solitary animals as not communicating with each other, but when they do communicate, it's really important.
The main form of communication among tigers is through scent marking. They go around and they urinate on trees, and sometimes they do this very frequently, just as part of their daily activity. Yeah, strong. This is a traditional tiger mark tree. And what our tiger Alex has done, he's walked down the road here, came up to the tree, turned around and sprayed the tree with urine. You can see this dark spot right here where he's marked. And then by his tracks, it looks like he also came up and probably scratched it a little bit like this and kind of hugged the tree and rubbed his side of his face against it.
Katia usa marcas de odor para divulgar sua presença e para delimitar seu território. Através de sua marca, outro tigre pode estimar a idade, sexo e identidade de Katia. Um macho pode até determinar se ela está pronta para acasalar. Este grande macho está reagindo ao odor que Katia deixou recentemente. Conhecido como comportamento flaming, ele se verifica em lugares onde outros tigres deixaram marcas de odor. Essa contorção permite que o odor alcance um órgão atrás da boca do tigre. Arranhar árvores pode ser apenas uma forma de exercício para Katia, mas as glândulas de suas patas deixam um odor. Até o relacionamento entre Katia e Larissa é parcialmente orientado pelo odor. Esfregar transfere e mistura odores entre felinos familiares, reforçando e mantendo laços sociais. Katia e Larissa dão uma visão valiosa da sociedade dos tigres. É hora de ir. Mas John e Linda vão retornar ao lar de Katia e continuar a procurar respostas para a sobrevivência dos tigres. Hoje, os cientistas tentam a captura por helicóptero de uma tigresa chamada Natasha. As baterias de sua coleira precisam ser trocadas. Se falharem em seu objetivo, um valioso animal de estudo estará perdido para sempre. O biólogo Bart Schleier junta-se à equipe para esse esforço crucial.
Before the capture, before we take off, I'm just incredibly tense and nervous, and I think everybody is. Once we get into the air, the feeling is still very tense, but we all become so focused on what we're doing that in general I lose my fear and a lot of my apprehension.
First thing we do is of course we fly to that animal's home range, and we're searching for the signal. Once we get the signal, we want to hone in on that animal as quickly as possible. So everybody on the helicopter, really, we're cooperating, just trying to get the first visual on the animal.
It's very important that the first person that sees the tiger communicates that to someone who can communicate it to the pilots, because the pilots are the ones that have to see the tiger right away, because they're the ones that are going to follow it.
There is definitely danger involved because you're working at such close quarters to the tops of trees. From the air, there's a very small target, and especially from the air because you're looking down on their back. And with an animal moving in the trees, there's usually not a big period of time that you have that you can take a shot. It's usually a little narrow time frame that you can take a shot at an animal, and that's usually when they're stopped. A dart doesn't fly like a bullet. A dart is affected by gravity, and it's also affected by prop wash, and it flies more like an arrow.
This capture was a little more difficult than some of our other captures because Natasha was in the river bottom where the trees were really tall, so we couldn't get down as close to her as we would have liked to.
They're not really afraid of this helicopter, this monster, and it's a big helicopter, this monster in the sky that's following them. They're not afraid of it, they're just mad at it. And they would be perfectly willing to just try and pull that thing out of the sky if only they could reach it. So you get a dart in, you wait a little bit, and see what kind of effect it has, because it takes 5 to 10 minutes for ketamine to have an effect on the animal.
Our biggest concern is that the animal is down. As soon as it looks like it's down, we got to get on the ground as quickly as possible. At that point, when the animal's on the ground, every minute is crucial.
You can't get to the animal as quick as you want to make sure their breathing is stabilized. And also, when you are approaching an animal, they're not held by a snare, so there's the possibility that the animal will come for you.
We all share in making sure that we're monitoring respiration all the time.
Yeah, you can get visual on her pulse.
Yeah,
I cut the one dart next.
Tip her head back a little bit. Except for that one canine, her teeth are pretty good.
Both lower ones are gone.
Oh, both of them are.
The blood and tissue samples are really important because we use them to do genetic analysis. The information we have on genetic analysis to compare how different Siberian tigers are from other subspecies. We've got to get that radio color changed. So we want to make sure that the capture is successful, but we're always worried about the animal's safety. That's number one.
Plenty of room, but I think I can give her a little more.
Which is third one. Yeah, we've been going on the fourth on some of the adults. Okay. Time? Okay, we're gonna get tooth photos right now.
Well, we age tigers by their teeth and by tooth wear, but for us to have photographs of the teeth, we can then compare all of our different tigers at the same time.
Pull the lip up right here. Yeah, beautiful.
We like to leave a tiger that's showing some signs of getting up.
Whoa, head up, head up, head up.
And once they start to show a little bit of head movement, it's still going to be usually another 10 or 15 minutes before they can really, get up and walk away or something, at least that long.
But she's getting up. She's getting up. Okay, let's pack up quick.
Well, it's really important to get these animals radio color because tigers are very secretive. You can't go out and sit down and watch them. With tigers, you can't do that. You almost never see them.
The information that we are getting is real important for putting together a conservation plan. It actually could save the species.
So we killed an elk.
When we started our research program here in 1992, our goal was not simply to study tigers, to have a better understanding of them from a scientific perspective. It was to develop the best database possible for the implementation of a conservation plan for the Siberian tiger.
O diretor do projeto Tigre Siberiano, Dale Miquel, informa John e Lynn das últimas atualizações do plano de conservação.
In one system of protected areas that would provide a continuous expanse of tiger habitat from the northern limits of the range to the very southern limits.
é um plano ousado. Ligar parques nacionais e reservas para formar um corredor que dê total segurança para o tigre e sua presa. Os tigres siberianos precisam de uma enorme quantidade de espaço. Reservar terra para toda a população seria impossível. Tigres e pessoas precisam dividir a terra.
Tiger conservation is not just setting aside land, but it's actually finding ways for people to live in harmony or in coexistence with tigers. It means use of the resources, the natural resources, in a way that does not damage them.
Dale trabalha com membros da comunidade para implementar o plano a nível local.
The survival of tigers and conservation in general is very closely linked to the well-being of people. If people feel a sense of well-being, that their economic needs are being met, they're not going to turn to the forest resources and extract them in such an intensive fashion as when they feel they're being stressed.
A preservação só vai funcionar se as pessoas virem o tigre como uma criatura que vale a pena salvar. É outono na Rússia Oriental. Um tempo de mudanças. Já se passou um ano desde que os cientistas avistaram Katia e Larisha pela primeira vez. Larisha é agora uma tigresa adulta. Ela ficou perto de casa, em parte do território da Katia. Como a mãe, Larisha marcou os limites de seu território. Ela encontrou um par, um tigre monitorado pela coleira chamado Jenny.
Tigers can live in jungles, tigers can live in swamplands, tigers can live in boreal forests. But what is critical is where those ungulates, where that prey base can live. And so when we ask, how do we save tigers, how do we save tiger habitat, we're really asking, how do we save habitat for the ungulates upon which tigers survive?
O porco selvagem é mais de 50% da dieta de um tigre. Eles comem castanhas de pinheiros coreanos que são abundantes nas densas florestas de Sikhote-Alin. O pinheiro coreano também tem uma madeira muito valorizada. Muitas árvores foram cortadas do tiaga e, apesar de serem protegidas, a extração ilegal do pinheiro continua até hoje. Dale e o biólogo russo Sasha Mishlenkov estão tentando determinar o que a presa do tigre necessita para sobreviver.
To have a good understanding of tiger ecology, it means understanding the relationship between tigers and the animals that also occur in the forest there. The relationship between deer, elk, wild boar, and bears. Understanding that whole complex is a first step to understanding what tigers need to survive.
Biólogos do Instituto de Vida Selvagem Hornoka esperam obter uma imagem completa da ecologia do tigre. A sobrevivência a longo prazo dos tigres siberianos depende do sucesso de inúmeros animais e plantas. O companheiro de Larisha, Jenny, passou os últimos 3 dias numa área. Ele saiu cedo esta manhã. Linda e Kola estão indo investigar o que Jenny deixou para trás.
Wow. Vidish, look at how long this drag is. Tigers usually don't drag their kills this far unless something's disturbed them.
Os 2 pesquisadores esperam encontrar restos de uma presa de tigre. O que eles descobriram chocou os 2.
Tigre съел. It's a tiger. Are you sure it's tiger? My God, it's a tiger. It's a Jin.
Задняя. Это маленький. Дай
When we first walked into that kill site, of course, we were expecting to find an elk or a boar, the usual food item of a tiger. It was pretty shocking when we looked down and saw tiger paws.
8 сантиметров.
8 centimeters.
Да.
8 centimeters.
Да.
8 centimeters. This is a cub. 7.5 centimeters. This is a young. Это очень молодой.
Os pesquisadores precisam agora determinar a identidade do tigre e como ele morreu. Linda teme que o tigre morto seja Larisha.
Взрослый, не вот этот. Не...
Oh, there's blood here on her nose. Almost like she had come off a kill. Maybe. Her bone was broken. Her rib was broken.
Не ломай.
It's almost like they were broken off. The claws are dull on the end, almost like they were. She was dragging. Almost shattered on the end, but they're not bleeding. We were looking at her claws because they were black and they were eroded on the end, as if she had been drugged on the asphalt. From a tiger or
Cola e Linda estão confusos com o que encontraram: ossos quebrados, carne cortada, alcatrão no pelo. Não foi um tigre que matou este animal.
Right now, I suspect that this was Katya's 20-month-old cub, who's been on her own for the last several months, not traveling with Katya, which is a bit confusing right now because we know that they've also spent time together, this cub and Jenny. They've shared kills, and we suspected that they mated, so I'm not sure what's going on, but what we need to do is search this area more, see if we can find a few more bones, see if we can find some more tracks, and try to piece the puzzle together. We work with these animals every day. That's our job, is to track these animals, and they become like part of our family. And we know so much about them, though we rarely see them. And all of our radio-colored tigers are individuals to us. And so when something happens to one of them, it becomes a personal thing, a personal loss.
O tigre morto é Larisha, a filha única de Katya. A jovem tigresa que John e Linda conheceram tão bem está morta.
We knew exactly when that cub was conceived. We knew exactly when that cub was born. Although we never had a radio collar on the cub, we followed it through the first 2 years of its life when it was still traveling with Katya, and after that kept following it through tracking in the snow. So by losing this cub, we lost a lot of information.
A investigação de Linda e Cola os leva até a estrada.
We determined that the animal was hit by a car. Actually hit by a large truck. The tracks start here. It's like they hit her and they drug her under the back tires all the way to here. That's about, 15 meters. They also think that these people threw her over the edge.
O motorista pegou o corpo ensanguentado e inerte de Larisha e o arrastou até o acostamento e o largou ali. O companheiro de Larisha, Jenny, encontrou a jovem tigresa. As marcas mostram que ele a arrastou por mais de 200 metros, uma distância incrível, até uma clareira da floresta. Jenny ficou com Larisha 3 dias antes de partir.
The fact that the animal died a senseless death because somebody was driving too fast on a road does make me angry.
This is the only road through the reserve, and it goes right through the middle of one of the most productive tiger home ranges on the reserve. But because of this road, every single tiger that has been born in this area for at least the last 8 years has died as a result of either being hit by cars or from being shot by poachers from the road.
Há momentos como este em que o futuro do tigre siberiano parece perdido. Mas dizem na Sibéria, a esperança é a última que morre. Apesar das chances desfavoráveis, o número de tigres siberianos está crescendo. De 250 em 1992 para estimados 350 hoje.
The tiger, and especially the Siberian tiger, is perhaps the ultimate symbol of wildness, the ultimate symbol of perhaps our link to nature. Everybody is enamored or afraid or in some way has some kind of relationship to a tiger, whether they've seen one in the wild, whether they live where there are tigers or not. Children know about tigers, one of the first animals they learn about. T is for tiger. If we can't save an animal with that strong a cultural symbol, not only for Russia, but for the whole world, it comes down to asking the question whether or not we can save ourselves. And so we need to save the tiger as much for its own sake as for our own.
They're beautiful animals. They're a treasure, a jewel on this earth that we should protect. I can't imagine life on this earth without other creatures so exquisite.
Está claro que existe uma oportunidade de salvar o maior tesouro da Rússia. Não só em mito e lenda, mas que tem vivido por séculos, vigiando os picos nevados e vales da Rússia Oriental. Um lugar e um povo que vive na sombra do Tigre.